Good morning all, welcome to our second assembly on the theme of remote learning. This time a bit of an update for you on what we learnt from the experience of Year 8 having 2 days worth of remote lessons a couple of weeks ago. So you may well be aware that Year 8 were at home for 4 days as a result of a positive case in that year group. When we get a positive case in the year group, the school has to do quite a lot of work to work out whether a certain number of students would have to go home, which is currently the case in Year 7 with just 17 students at home, or whether the whole year group would need to go home, which was the case with Year 8. When that does happen, then it's obviously quite a big job to ask a whole year group to leave school early, and I want to publicly thank the Year 8 students for being so calm and so mature as we gave them the news in the halls and we asked them to leave. It is also important to point out that when we do ask somebody to self-isolate, whether it's you on your own or a class or a whole year group, you do have to leave the school site promptly when you're told, and to get home. This is not a chance to hang around. The idea is that you go home so you don't get in contact with other year groups, in particular friends and siblings in other year groups. Don't hang around outside. Okay, so please do make your way home as soon as you possibly can. So Year 8 were at home for 4 days and they had 2 days of live lessons. Now, we're going to talk a bit more in detail about the live lessons in this assembly, but the headline news is that the attendance was great. 90% of people logged in for their form time and their 5 lessons. The engagement was really good. Students have reported that they like the fact they can talk to their peers and their teachers and to ask questions. And of course, it's quite a bonus not having to put your school uniform on to do your 5 lessons. Now, Mrs. Lawton tells me here that behaviour was, quote, 100% perfect in every lesson, which sounds amazing. And I'm pretty sure it was really, really good across the board. So well done to all those students who took part sensibly, listened carefully, and gave their views in a mature manner. In particular, we did have some technical issues as we were trying our first set of live lessons. And thank you to all those students who waited patiently and those who offered helpful technical advice through the chat function. There may well be technical issues again next time we do it, so please do be patient. Students have told us that they much prefer this method of live lessons compared to before the summer, and it's nice that students have recognised the importance of connecting with their tutor and tutor groups in the morning. Having spoken to students and teachers, things we think we can improve for next time, there is of course the written chat function on the lesson system. Just please make sure you use that for sensible comments. Just a reminder, if you're thinking about saying something a bit silly or a bit stupid, those comments are seen by your teachers and they are recorded. So do use the chat function, but use it sensibly. More importantly, make sure you check that your technology works in advance. And if you are asked to submit some work online, then please do so, but you don't automatically have to do that. The general expectation is that you'll do your work in your exercise book that you should have at home, and you'll bring it back in at the end of the period of isolation so your teacher can see what you've done. So you don't automatically have to upload your work. A lot of students did that in Year 8, which is great, but you don't need to do it. Now, I mentioned before that the attendance was about 90% of students, which is brilliant. Now, we do know that some people cannot attend because they either don't have the devices, or they had technical issues at home, or they had people in the house who were using those devices for work, and that's all entirely understandable and nobody would ever get in trouble for that. What we will do though is if we notice that you've not logged on, your head of year or your pastoral manager or another member of staff will ring your home or ring your parents or carers to find out what it is that the problem is, and we'll have a discussion. If students could attend but chose not to, then we will of course pick that up when you get back into school and ask you what was going on. If we don't think there's a decent reason, if we think you've just been lazy and couldn't be bothered, then we're going to challenge you on that, and we're going to speak to your parents and carers, and we're going to write a letter home. And if we really think you're taking the mick, then we will of course issue sanctions, because education is not optional, and just because the school might not be able to accommodate you on these days, you are still expected to do your lessons, and we will hold you to that. We're putting together a good package for you, and the overwhelming majority of people are really keen to do it, and so I guess our moral duty is those people who were making the wrong choices, we're going to try and educate you so you make the right ones in the future. So if you're worried about making sure your technology works, then everything you need to know so that you can access remote lessons is all on the school website. You go to students and online learning and you follow all the information there. It tells you everything you need to know about how you can access our Teams online lessons. And the key things are, if you want to prepare, make sure you can log on to Teams successfully. Check that your sound works on your device and that your microphone works if you have one. And watch the video on the website that is entitled Getting Ready for Home Study. It's a great video and it tells you exactly what you need to know. If you do have some technical issues either on the day or beforehand, then our network support team, whose email address is there, network.support@marplehall.stockport.sch.uk, are able to help, and they did fix a huge number of issues with Year 8. It's busy on the day, of course, so it's better for you to try and set up your technology at home first, and if you've got any issues, you can get in touch with these people beforehand, and Mr. Slatter and his team will try and help you out. If everything does go really badly wrong, and for some reason you can't access the lesson at all, then don't worry, the lessons are recorded. So if you miss it, you can go back and watch it later and still do the work before you come back to school. So the details, what happens if your year group is sent home? So on the first full day of your absence, let's say you're sent home middle of the day on Monday, on the Tuesday you'll have work set work set through Show My Homework or Satchel 1, and it will be labelled classwork, and that is the work that you do. It shows red on your list. Your teachers may also set your homework as well, because that's just like a normal school day. So they may set you some classwork and some homework, which is absolutely fine. And if you are submitting your homework through Show My Homework, please try and use a Word document or a really clear image, a JPEG, which makes it easier for the staff to see it, because sometimes the images you're sending in, it's not really working for us in terms of seeing the work that you've done. However, on day 2, so again, if you were sent home Monday, day 1 would be Tuesday and you'd have Show My Homework work to do on your own. Day 2 would be the Wednesday, and that's where your live lessons will start. If you open your school email address, and this is one thing to check, then you will be personally emailed a timetable that looks like the thing on the right here, with a load of links on it, and those links will take you directly to the live lessons at the right time, which is really, really clever, and it means that you can't possibly fail to find the lesson that you should be going to. When you go into your lessons, most important thing, the cameras are not on, so you won't be able to use your camera, which is great news if, like me, you spend hours doing your hair. You don't have to worry about that. Your teachers will invite you to unmute your mics, so you can get involved in the live conversation, and also to use the chat function. Do please take part in lessons. You can use the raise a hand function to ask a question if you're not sure. And really importantly, your lessons might not start bang on time, because your teachers may have been teaching another year group in school straight before your live lesson is due to start. It might take them 3, 4, 5 minutes to get ready. So if you log on bang on time and your teacher isn't there, don't think, oh, it's not happening, and log off again. Just be patient, wait a few minutes, your teacher will arrive. To build in a little bit of slack time because of this, your lessons will still be 40 minutes long, but not longer than that, so that you have the time and the teachers have the time to do the other things they've got to do in school as the rest of the day happens. It also gives you a little break in between each of the online lessons. You'll complete your written work as normal, and you'll bring it into school when the isolation period is finished. So the final messages. Number 1, be ready for if and when your year group's turn comes to be isolated at home. Number 2, get involved in the lessons. Participate as you would do in a normal lesson. And number 3, be positive. Working from home for a short amount of time can be a really, really good thing. We, your teachers, have all noticed many of you have become far more independent than you were before lockdown. You're able to manage your own time, you're able to look after your own learning, and that's because of the experience of lockdown. It's not all entirely bad. So this is a great way in which you can demonstrate your independent learning, you can grow as a person through this experience, you can take part in your lessons, and most importantly, we can keep your education going. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.